Howdy guys, I'm Alex the Cesare and I'd like to welcome you to the second episode of Cinema 4D for Dummies, or C4D4D, right here on CesareArts. In this episode we'll be covering the managers and browsers within the program, in order to familiarise ourselves with the various ways we can manage objects and tools, as well as the ways we can locate them. In Cinema 4D it's all about the managers. Managers are essentially windows that represent program elements, for example the objects. There are actually a lot more managers that are not displayed, however we're going to be looking at the most commonly used managers in this episode. The objects in the scene are named and organised in the Object Manager, which is seen in the upper right side of the main window here. When you import objects into a scene, they will appear here, ready to be organised and manipulated into doing what you want them to do. With these objects you can make hierarchies, which are basically a string of parent-child links between the objects, allowing for better organisation and ease of use. To do this you just drag the child object onto the parent, wait for the down arrow to appear, and then drop it in. Now when you make changes to the parent object, which in this case is the cube, these changes will be applied to the child, which is the sphere. Sometimes all of the objects used aren't shown in the manager. To apply the filter enabling you to see everything, go to View, Show Filter, or just click the eye over here at the top of the manager. You can see everything here already because it's a fairly small scene, but this is a useful tip if you're making a larger scene or doing a larger project. Another helpful tool designed to make using Cinema 4D easier is the Layer Browser. To access this you need to head up towards Window, Layer, and then click Layer Browser. This brings up a little window showing your objects and tags and other goodies, allowing you to group them up and make changes in a setting that's more responsive and more organised than the Object Manager itself. In the Layer Browser you can do a variety of things such as turning animations on and off, managing and applying expressions, using deformers, using generators, and even applying locks to a layer to avoid any unwanted editing. The last thing we'll be covering is the Attributes Manager. This manager will be used several times throughout the series, so you guys should be mindful of it and be aware of what it is and how it's used. Fortunately, it's labelled well, and all editable details of an object are displayed here when the object is selected. A couple of tips I discovered and use of this manager are very useful and are unknown by a large majority of Cinema 4D users. The first tip is how to lock the Attributes Manager so that you stay on the object even when you deselect it or select a different one. For example, if I lock the manager whilst I have the sphere selected, I'm able to keep editing details of the sphere whilst at the same time make changes to the positions, etc. of the cube, whereas if you didn't lock it, the cube would show up in the Attributes Manager instead. The next tip is for the Cinema 4D users who are editing a few things at once, maybe in a large scene where there are many objects to change and rearrange. This tip is on how to pull up an extra manager. To do this you simply click the plus icon in the top right, and then it brings out another manager for you to use. Whatever object you select before this process is the one that will be shown in the new window. For example, if I select the sphere and click the icon, a new sphere manager is shown, allowing me to edit the sphere and the cube without having to keep switching. This icon does the same for the object manager also. Thank you all for watching. I hope you learned something from this episode. If you still find this to be a bit too easy, I assure you that the fun, complicated stuff is coming your way soon. But I will only work onto the harder stuff once the basics are covered. Plus these episodes are designed so that even the best can learn little extra things from these that they may have not known before, and that's what this channel is all about. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time when we cover the shortcuts in the program.